Is jewelry more than just ornamentation? Revolutionaries change society. Artists change the way people look at society. Contemporary art can be cynical, aggressive, vulgar, depressing, disturbing. It has at least one of these characteristics. It is society-oriented, participative, interdisciplinary, conceptual, beyond the art-craft boundary, crowd-funded, synergy-oriented, ephemeral, appropriative, technology-friendly. Jewelry art should be judged by the same standards that apply to visual art. To survive as a jeweler, you need people to like, buy, and wear your art. Unworn, jewelry is a script of a film that will never be produced, screened, or watched. You cannot use jewelry without owning it. Jewelry's potential to change the viewer's perspective unfolds through the trinity of the maker, the buyer, the beholder, that is, the public eye. To paraphrase Jenny Holzer's truisms that your actions are pointless if no one notices them, your jewelry is pointless if no one buys it. No jeweler can avoid the influence of promotion and sales strategies. It is difficult to be anti-conformist and successful in the luxury business. It requires nothing less than casting an innovative eye over art, like Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood did in the 1970s by turning the punk movement into an icon of the avant-garde. The jewelry artist's million-dollar question is, how can I be both critical and sustainable, challenging and pleasing, approachable and rebellious? Answer this and you will conquer the highly competitive art jewelry market.
This material, the name of this material is silica aerogel. It is used by NASA for the insulation of spacecrafts. What I made, it was simply to think if we can use it in design and in visual arts. So I tried to investigate the material and see it in a different way, not in a scientific way, but more creative way. And what I found is that this material looks like a piece of sky. Look at this. It is blue with black background, but if I put it in front of a clear background, it looks orange or transparent. When you use this material, it is like you are working with nothingness. You have in front of you something to mold that is 99% nothing and 1% something, glass. But this nothingness is like a piece of sky. For me, and Bousseron shared the same vision, it was to work and to create a jewel out of sky. So this kind of result, outcome, it was this beautiful goutte de ciel that was made last 2 years before.
I'm very happy to be trained as a goldsmith and not as a conceptual thinker. So I have so many skills, and I dedicated my life to expand my skills. So I trained myself and I got courses here and there in all kinds of skills. My creativity and my devotion and passion to the work I do will bring me further, and when I'm inspired, I make a collection anyway. I made 80 pieces last year just by one idea. Jewelry makers will always be inventive, and they have to be, because we are working in a very small market, and this market will not grow. And then you might be a skilled jewelry maker, but you're maybe not a skilled seller, or you won't like internet, or you don't do anything online. So how do you find your customers? So it's a very complicated craft to have, and you need so many skills. I think a lot of people forget it when they say a craftsman. you know, they work with their hands and they don't have to have any brains, which is not true. Of course not. I would advise young jewelry makers to make connections within your neighborhood, live, not only online. Find each other, set up an exhibition together, a small one, a big one, make a catalog, make good pictures for the catalog, learn how to make a press release, find all kinds of free lessons to improve yourself for press releases, network a lot in your neighborhood, and set up a small exhibition every year, and you will get customers in your hometown.
What are the most dangerous obstacles they have to overcome? Dangerous. What do they have to keep in mind? I think the most dangerous is time. Is filling your time with other things and not your work and your development and your practice and discovering shit and figuring it all out. Time, there you go. That's what it is. Spend as much time as you can on doing all that. Yes, galleries definitely the best places for selling work. I'm happy to make the work and to do my thing. That's my job done in a way. And then the galleries do all the next steps and have all those relationships with the clients and everyone. Galleries are here to support contemporary jewellers. You know, a lot of fine art galleries will have at least one jeweller as well as the applied art direction of galleries.
The most important function of contemporary jewelry art is to communicate a certain kind of a personal artistic idea. I think that jewelry has a very little influence on contemporary art, but I can see that jewelry has taken a lot of inspiration from contemporary art. I miss the challenge for our field to be taken seriously as a contemporary art form. This could change, maybe being better in communication of our artistic approach. I would add the consequences of working as an artist, both economics and the social aspects of working in the field of contemporary jewelry art. I wish more fine art galleries would show contemporary jewelry art and that our field is just as important like any other art form.
It's true that artists avoid the subject of money, not just artists. You can ignore it if art is your hobby, but if you want to live and survive with your work, then you have to ask money for it. It's a beautiful moment because it makes you feel like a professional artist. Giving a prize to a work of art is never easy, especially when you love your creations more than anything. That is a sign of respect for your work. Many trade fairs, events and galleries court for the artists, but only a few strive for success. You risk throwing the money away. I prefer win-win events as we had with American museums. We sell and earn together, so success is guaranteed. But we had also very nice and generous cooperation in Europe with the Grassi Museum. If artists were unsure about an event, I advise to analyze the past events. Who are the artists and what is their opinion? Just call and ask. I always think that more exchange among the artists can only bring us further and protect against bad events. I advise a young artist who plans to become professional that he should first look at the world of artists and speak to other artists. This is the only way to get a realistic and not embellished picture of this profession. The path to your own style can take years, but it's important to find one.
Everything is leading us to the market, and what is a market? Why we say market and why we focus that much on the market? It's because any other fine art, crafts, design, they are working into a market. A market means that there is a professional network where is transparency on the products, where is collaboration between galleries, dealers, where is a trust from the collectors, because everything is regulated somehow. This is something contemporary jewelry hasn't accomplished yet. We think contemporary jewelry has a very good health in the sense of the creative level, but it is still not positioned in this market. How can we do or position contemporary jewelry in this market? There is only one way, and it's with professionality. And what professionality means at the end is that all the actors working in this contemporary jewelry, in this sector, accomplish only the role that they have been working on. All these all this thing about the market is not something that it can be created in a few days. Actually, we have been working for a long time for this. Contemporary jewelry has a very healthy, it's very healthy in the sense of the creativity, but to get the place in a market is not just this. There are some things missing. A market is not just a place where we do transactions, economical transactions. A market is much more than this, where, as we said before, transparency is an important point, getting the trust of the collectors is an important point, working professionally, individually in our roles and collaborating with another professional actors is very important to situate all these contemporary jewelry. Honestly, we can say the only way to make contemporary jewelry sustainable is to place it in a professional and real market. And this is the challenge.
There's a really interesting overlap at the moment between fine art and the art of adornment on the body. We're seeing the use of reflective decorative materials, often associated with craft, fashion and jewellery, in galleries. I'm thinking specifically of the extraordinary work of American artist Nick Cave and his intricately decorated sound suits, and Hugh Locke, the British sculptor whose procession at Tate Britain in London was, until very recently, mesmerising audiences in London with his narratives of Black history. And these artists jump to mind as they are exploding and expanding ideas about what is fine art, what is decoration, how we insert beauty in the body into these discourses. And this territory is territory that contemporary jewellery artists are also exploring. And there seems to be an interesting opportunity for contemporary jewellery to join in this dialogue, challenging ideas about whose stories we see and which kind of objects should be on display in our art institutions. And this is a dialogue I'd really love to see. In fashion, there is a really dynamic momentum with young designers, independents. I'm thinking about Kalina Strada and Emily Bode in the United States, for instance. And they're using decorative elements, upcycled beading and embroidery in their sustainably conscious collections. And these are really hot brands. And they communicate very easily and organically with their audiences through social media. And their values are really threaded through their narrative. And these are really exciting disruptors in the fashion space. And I think contemporary jewellery should be talking to these specific designers and exploring opportunities to collaborate and share platforms with them. My advice to the contemporary jewellery world would be to find synergies with the Fashion Week calendars and the global art fair circuits, and for the Contemporary Jewellery Week organisers to have the courage to get out of their lane and find energising new partnerships and share platforms with creatives from outside the contemporary jewellery sector. I mean, in fine jewellery and looking at big houses, look at Tiffany collaborating with Nike. I would like to see the contemporary jewellery sector proposing their own intriguing, interesting, compelling collaborations with the sneaker industry, say, upcycling dead stock material, nylon laces and so on, and creating wearable art jewellery for the TikTok generation.
I'm Jurgita Ludavichini, curator of the International Jewelry Biennale, Metallophone. In curating the Biennale, I had several goals: to show international contemporary jewelry in Vilnius, to inspire the local jewelry community with new ideas, and I had the several strategies. For example, the main point was to develop a theme that would be of interest to both the participant and the public, to find artists who take contemporary jewelry seriously and whose work can inspire both the public and fellow artists, and to communicate the message of the exhibition, the memory of a place, as clearly as possible, and to keep the public interested. And I'm sure that this Biennale has really lived up to my expectations. In every job and every activity, in every event, human capital is crucial. We are working not with the abstract institutions but with individual people. And this is why I value enormously the whole network of contacts that I have been patiently weaving like a spider all those years. It's the only way I can achieve my goals, only one way to work together with people. The main advice for jewelry event organizers is to simply love contemporary jewelry and the artists who create it. Be passionate about what you do.
Well, my opinion is it would be necessary to have more discourse on contemporary jewelry, like we do now, and what we have in the gallery when we invite people, speakers and audience, where we just speak about jewelry and trying to get it into the mind of the people. I would love if we could have like reviews in the radio, for example, like they're having for the theater. Every concert, every book is being spoken about in the radio, but never the jewelry, never. And I wish that would happen, and I'm convinced it would help us a lot. What we definitely need is a new audience, because we are at the moment in a generation change, and the current situation, as we said before, is it's making it even harder at the moment.
I do design jewelry by myself, and always the basic material that I get, may it be stones or may it be pearls, inspire me to make a unique piece. As beautiful materials such as pearls, coral or gemstones are getting rarer these days, I believe that investment into jewelry of highest quality is always a good thing. The Berlin Gallery Weekend is the most important art event in Berlin, and it attracts collectors from all over the world to come Berlin for this wonderful weekend to see art, contemporary art and beautiful things.
The special ingredients of Romanian Jewelry Week consist in our partners, the others organizers of the jewelry weeks around the world, the jury, the participants, who are more than 200 participants every year. That means independent designers, but also collectives and schools around the world, and also the amazing public that is visiting in a large number. In the same time, we have also the collaboration of national museums and private galleries that join our events, and that make us the most important event in contemporary jewelry in Romania.
My name is Eva Aldonikov, and I'm the director of DIVA, the Museum for Diamonds, Jewelry and Silver in Antwerp, Belgium. So, how do we fund our activities? It's a mix of public and private funding, and particularly the private part has changed in the last couple of years. the bigger jewelry houses are behaving more and more like collectors and curators, which makes collaborating a lot more interesting for both parties. The museum was closed due to renovation works, and we've updated our permanent collection presentation. It will open on the 24th of March. But to accommodate visitors, we opened a pop-up exhibition just around the corner of the museum. The pop-up was a success. We had a lot of positive responses, but would I advise other cultural institutions to set up a pop-up? I'm not too sure, because the practical part of an exhibition such as that is quite intense. We have a residency program at the museum for 2 years now, and it really helps us to reach our goals. We've not only connected with the sectors that we're part of, so the jewelry makers, but also the diamond polishers and cutters. But it also offers us a way of looking with fresh eyes to our own collection, and that helps us to find different ways to connect with the public and obviously the makers. So what will be new in our renewed collection presentation? We've expanded it with a new hall. We've added more things on contemporary jewelry and silverware. And lastly, we've added our latest acquisitions. So please drop by, and I hope to see you in Antwerp.